long recess. We are back on the stream, and we are streaming, as promised, the development of the app called the Creative Network. You can check out the link, right now on the screen here. Um, and basically, the Creative Network, like we said in the first screencast, is basically an app where you can share any of your creative creations. It can be your awesome battle station, and it can be your awesome woodworking workshop. It it can be literally anything. Um, since it's something that is close to our heart, we thought we're gonna start with battle stations, but it's not limited to battle stations at all, right? So right now we basically, if we go back here, we have really like a skeleton React app. And in the first episode, our goal was to set up the environment and to run through what the setup is. If you go back to the first episode, um, I did not use any of the generators or any of the ready-made React starters and all of those. I basically went and I wrote JavaScript. Um, you know, so obviously ES6, but it's as as naked as they come. Um, so there's really nothing here that will blow your mind. It's the simplest React app you can think of. You literally just do React DOM.render, and then this is a React app into document get element by ID of app, right? Nothing special here whatsoever. And just to resume, the way we do this is we stream on two or three channels simultaneously. Um, so usually it's live edu and then Twitch and YouTube. Today I'm not streaming. I'm streaming to YouTube as well, but I'm not watching the YouTube chat. And I'm basically watching the chat, and then if anyone asks a question on the chat, I paste that question onto the stream, and then we discuss the question. So um, you can be on each of the channels that we're streaming on. Your voice will be heard, and we'll get to your questions as well. So because this was I want to share something. So it's really hard to lose the motivation for doing these streams. Especially if you have 5, 6, 7, or 8 people watching, and not a lot of people giving you feedback later. Um, but actually, earlier today, kind of this morning, I got an email from a guy, James, and he said that he pretty much like went gaga over the streams, and that he really likes them, and that we should continue. And feedback like that, hearing that people like it and hearing that people are watching and liking it and educating themselves. This is why I do it, right? This is why we do it. So keep the feedback coming, because it's really easy to lose the motivation. It's 10 p.m. right now. It's like 10 minutes to 10 p.m. We're basically both after a day's work. So it's easy to just call it a day and go play PlayStation. But if you have the motivation and people are watching, then it's easier to kick yourself into gear, and get shit done. Anything to add, Stevens, on your side? Okay, cool. So, um, so the previous time we did it, we had kind of a plan of what we wanted to do in the first session. And the first session, we wanted to basically do the setup. So, get NPM going, get Webpack going, get Yarn going. So we got all of those. We have a yarn.lock. We have a packages here. And we kept things very minimal. Probably since we did it, because it's JavaScript, it's been like 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Probably all of the versions here are newer now. Um, but yeah, it's JavaScript, but we're gonna get to that, in due time. And so let's talk a bit about what's a maintainable, kind of a small bite of work to do today, that will get us through to our goal. So let's talk about it. What do you think we should focus on today? So let's just, for a recap, we have just literally one page app, and this is a React app. We don't have a database. We don't have a server. We don't have any decision about user management, whether we do external logins, internal logins. We literally have nothing. So what do you think? And if people in the chat room have comments, feel free to comment. What do you think we should do today? Yeah. Um. Yeah. I think so. I think it's too soon. Yeah, because the thing is, think about it, right? In the app right now, we have nothing. Um, like the first time we are really gonna need a server is when we're gonna need to kind of test, quote unquote, the posting part, right? Up until the posting part, we really have nothing much to do on the server side, because we can fake all of it. Um, we can have like a JSON blob that Webpack just spits out, for um, the creative stuff. Um, so yeah, let me just go ahead for the application. So, for example, this here, all of the description details, all of the stuff here, and the product link, all of this can be faked. So the question is whether, and I'm really not religious about it. I really can go either way. Um, we can start by creating the server, and then when we get to the point where we need to implement it on the client, we're going to just set the server up with some fake data, and then we're already kind of working with the server. What I find, when you work this way, then you tend to not test the app thoroughly in terms of communication without data. If you already know you have the server, then you're going to be tempted to go and to implement the presentation layer without really testing, like, hey, how does this all stuff like communicate? So what I find is that if you already have a server working, you already have controllers, you already have JSONs coming from the server, you tend to write messier code. Um, but again, seriously, like I'm not religious about it. I am religious about TDD, as you know. So anyway, I'm gonna do it. But I really can go either way. What I think maybe one thing that is worth doing is the same way we went and we decided on the client side. We can go ahead and decide on the server side. Which database are we going to use? Which with language? Which we can start on that, right? Um, so really, I can go either way. What I think is worth a shot is to grab the CSS and put like the logo, the upload button, just go ahead and start with the styling stuff. You know what I mean? So maybe that part is worth a shot. You know. So you think we should go for that? Okay. So. All right. So let's go ahead and do that. So what do we have right now? So we have an SRC and we have an index. And inside the index, we only have import React and import React DOM, right? So now let's see what we have in our packages here. So do we have a router? So we don't have a router right now. So let's go ahead and add a router because we're going to need it. No, like if you go to /upload, then do render this component. If you go to a router like Rails routes. Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. So we're gonna do yarn add React router, and let's also do yarn add React router Redux, because we're going to be using Redux here. So now we have React router, and we probably have React router Redux here as well. So what else? Do we have Redux? No. Let's go ahead and add Redux. So yarn add React Redux. Okay. I think that's about it. Yeah, I think that's about it. So, what are we going to do right now is we're going to basically start kind of adding stuff to this file and then adding components as we go. Okay. So first things first, we're gonna do is we're gonna add import to index routes, router, routes, and browser history from React router, right? And then what else? Let's import provider from React Redux. And I'm tempted whether to mess with browser history right now or not. Let's go ahead and do that already. So sync history with store from which package is that? Okay, so it's React router Redux, and then I think that's about it. What is it complaining about? Okay, defined but never used. That's okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead. Even before we continue with this file, let's go ahead and configure our storage for the app. So we're going to add stores and configure store.js, and then here we're gonna do const store equals configure store, and then we're gonna import configure store from stores configure store. Okay. So obviously, you know, the Webpack part is red right now, which is fine. You know, we already saw that, you know, it's red up until the point where it's green. Okay, so what I want to do is do the minimum I can for the app to work. So I don't really need a lot here. So let's import create store configure store.js. Yes. So the purpose of this file is to configure the store. So it's basically where, you know, the Redux stores its state. So right now we're configuring this for our app. So we're gonna import thunk from Redux. Thunk. Is that actually a separate package? I need to check. Okay, and then I wonder. Yeah, we're gonna have to go through all of this. So, so import thunk. Let me think whether we really need something else here. I don't think we do. So now we're gonna export default function configure store, and it's gonna grab the initial state, and then we return. So do this and then return create store. And here we're gonna need the root reducer, initial state. And I don't know. So what I need right now is a middleware, and the reason I'm kind of stuttering is whether I want to add compose right now for middleware or I want to wait with that. And I know it's all, you know, words in the air, but basically think about it this way. You can configure middleware for Redux, which basically means when something happens, do this, and this, without me literally telling you to do it. So, for example, let's say um, I have an action and I dispatch it, right? I dispatch the action and I attach like another set of attributes to that action. So let's say I add an attribute called mix panel, right? And all of this is examples from the real world, right? I mean, you can already imagine where I'm going at. Um, or you add an attribute called, Google Analytics, whatever. And the reason you do that is that some middleware is kind of counting on this thing to be there and then doing another thing. So, for example, if you dispatch an action, say someone clicked a button, and you say, hey, the button was clicked, right? So when the button was clicked, you want to go and you want to do an action that will grab the stuff from the server, and then you want to dispatch, the reducer and get another state. But in this whole kind of loop, you also want to tell Mixpanel, hey, someone clicked this button, right? Or you want to tell Google Analytics, hey, someone clicked this button. Or, you want to do something else that is inside your loop, but also outside your loop. So that's why I'm tempted whether to add compose here. And the reason I'm kind of debating is that it's easy to add fat that you don't need. But I already see at least 2 middlewares that we need. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're gonna import compose here. Compose is a way to compose middlewares. And I'm gonna do apply middleware, and it's gonna be a set of middlewares. Right. What else? So one thing I never remember how to do, but it's the Windows DevTool extension. So let me copy that here from the docs. All right. Okay. So here, let's do this. This is middleware. And now we need to import the apply the middleware stuff. So let me think. Something here is missing. Okay, so let's do this. So middleware is going to be an empty array for now. And then I am doing middleware.push, and I'm going to push thunk. And I think I'm going to start with that. Middleware is never reassigned. Okay, const, whatever. Such bullshit. So, and another one is actually the router. So I did import thunk, and now I need the router middleware. Okay, so let me import that. So import router middleware from React router Redux. And what else? Browser history. So let's do import browser browser history from, which one is that? The router. All right, so now we can do const router equals router middleware, and we pass in the browser history. And then here, whoops, here in the middleware, we can add the router. So middleware is here. It's just an array. And now we have the router, we have the middleware, we have the push, and the one thing we need is the root reducer. Okay, so someone on live edu is asking, what are we doing? What is the project about? So this is another golden opportunity to paste the link to the project description in the chat room, and go and read. I already explained it like 5 times. It's yeah. So go ahead and read that. I mean, I created the blog post just for that. We're basically creating an app from scratch while streaming. Go ahead and read the blog, and if you have any questions, let me know. So one thing we need right now is the root reducer and compose that we don't have. And compose is here. And actually apply middleware is also here. And what is it complaining about? Redux. Okay. Okay, so now all we need is the root reducer. So let's go ahead and create a directory here called reducers. And then here we're going to do reducers and index.js. And here it's import let's do this root reducer from reducers index. Let's add a semicolon, and here reducer. Okay. So let's see what we need in the root reducer. We don't need a whole lot. So let's do this. So we're gonna do import to combine reducers, because we're gonna have all of our reducers in separate files. So this from Redux, and then import router reducer from React router Redux, and then export default combine reducers, and here we're gonna have a router, and it's gonna be the router reducer. So let's save that. Well, combine reducers is here. Yeah, so let's do here, let's do routing, just for the sake of naming. Okay, so now we can try and compile our app again. And I think one of our packages is missing. I think it's Redux thunk for some reason. Let's see what's missing. Yeah, it's map dispatch to props. Can't resolve Redux. Didn't I? Oh, yarn add Redux. And then yarn add Redux. Thunk. Okay. So let's go ahead and try that. Okay. So let's see. All right. So I think that's about it with packages we need to add. But we'll see that in a second. All right, so it's still complaining. Okay, so it can't resolve stores, configure store. So that means something here is wrong. Combine reducers. So combine reducers is here from Redux. Combine reducers. And this should be a hash. Okay, this should be a hash. And now this should pass, and this should compile. So let's verify. All right, still not. So let's see, can't resolve stores, configure store. Oh, okay. I know. Okay, so what I need to do is move all the SRC, all the stores into SRC, and then reducers as well. I just moved folders. I created the folders not in the SRC folder, so it can't find the module. It couldn't resolve it. So now that I just moved the files around, it should resolve it. Okay, so couldn't find reducers index. So reducers and then index. And why is that? So stores, this should go like this. Oh no, so configure store. Okay, and then this is not here, but it's one level up. All right, and we have a green. So now we refresh, we have an app again. Well, nothing really changed other than about a ton of plumbing. So now what we can do here is save this file, and all of this stuff we can start integrating that. All right. So first things first, what we're going to do is going to create this into a component. So we're going to do make dir p_src components. -p is with the parent. So if it's just a habit. So if you do make dir without the -p and you do src components dd ds something, so if one of the parents is missing, it's gonna fail. But if you do -p, it will basically create the directory with all the parents. So it's just a habit. But right now I know src is still here, but I'm used to typing the entire thing. So so we're gonna edit a file inside here. So here it's complaining that it doesn't need that. So let's stop complaining, and then this is wrong. What else? This file should be good now. Okay, so now src components and then app. And let's do a component. What's my simple comp? Okay. But this is I don't really want it as a function. Okay. I wonder whether I should do it as a component. All right, let me just go over here. Snippets, JavaScript. Okay, so I have a simple comp. I have reducer spec, reducer action, and comp index. That's what I want here. Okay. All right, that's what I want. So our component name is app. And it's app here. We don't really need the action. We don't really need bind action creators. So map dispatch to props and here. Okay, so app is here. And then, so one thing I want to do is here. So make dir -p src components app, and then move this to src components app index. Right, and then add src components app presenter. Right, and then I have a comp presenter. Great. All right, it's been a while since I've done React. Okay, so we don't need a style here, and our app looks like this, so we're gonna put this into our component here. Yeah, I still use the same thing. Okay. Okay, so we have a component that is the app component. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna render it if the route is matching. All right, so we have the store, and let's do history here. So this is sync history restore, and just a sec. So browser history here and store, and then okay. So browser history. I don't. Oh, this is wrong. This is browser history here. Okay. So now, here we're gonna add the provider, and the store is store, and then let's close provider here. Or then we're gonna remove that and add a comma here. Okay, so now we are adding a router. And the history is history. And all right, so we're gonna close that here. And then we add in a route. And the path is this, right? So if the path is the main path, which is basically the home page, then the component is app, which we just created, right? And then index route, the component is home, and we're going to create this component in a second. Well, that's the definition of the React router. And then we have an index route, and we didn't close the route here, and then the router is closed here. Just a sec, I'll explain. App is not defined. Okay, so now import app from components app. Right, so this is here. And then I'm gonna do the same thing with home. All right. And what we're gonna do is, let me just copy src components app to src components home, and this is -r. All right, so now home index. So S is app to home, and then the home page is gonna be all right. So now we should be good to go, and we are. So we're gonna refresh, and we don't see anything. And why is that? So let's look at the console. Okay, so I see sync history restore is not a function. So sync history. Oh, I did not import it. No, so import sync history with store from React router Redux. Oh, I actually have it here. So why is it not defined? Oh, that's probably a version thing. It's probably a version thing. So, no, I don't. I'm not sure, but I'm seeing the the methods, and I'm not seeing the sync history in React router Redux. So package. Let's look at the package. So React router. Yeah, so it's 5 alpha. So yeah, and here it's okay. So let me do that. Because I, it's it's complicated. Because because no, I'm not being lazy. What I'm saying is this, right? So I know React Router Redux in versions I worked with in the past had this method. Yeah, sync history restore is there 100%. Um, React Router Redux. So this is 407 now. But it's still complaining about the same thing. So where is it complaining about? Okay, so all of it is here. Sync, history, restore, browser history, and store. So browser history is here and store is here. All right, so let's do this. So React Router Redux sync history restore. Gotta look at documentation. Yeah, look at my browser. So sync history restore. Okay, so seems like it's still there. Maybe it's a typo. It's not a typo. I don't know, maybe it's a typo. All right, let's see. No, it still can't find it. All right. No, but now seems like it's something else. So could not find property listen of undefined right now. So let's look at. No, I'm looking at the browser. Yeah, so now it's history.listen is not the one that's working. So what I'm thinking is to go back to the 5 alpha version because there might be a dependency. Okay, so let's see. All right, this is still packaging stuff. I'm gonna grab a sip of coffee. Yeah. 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 I'll go to sleep like a baby. Okay, so yeah, so now it's complaining again about the browser, the sync history. So let me go back and I'm probably missing something. Okay, so let's see this. So sync history restore, browser history, and store. So this is directly out of the documentation here. And then the router history is history, which comes from here. So let's go there. And then so we have the create store, and let's do the React router here. But I also need the index route. Right, so this is here. And then we have the configure store. So let's go to the configure store. So create store is here. Combine reducers is here. What am I missing? Okay, router and browser history. All right, let's go ahead and refresh here. And maybe it's here. So router middleware with browser history. That's what I'm thinking. So let's remove that from the middleware. Yeah, let's just a sec. Just for 1 second. So no, it complained about the sync history restore thing from React Router Redux. So something is off because I'm looking at the okay, I see the problem. Will be 5 compatible with React Router. 4 is currently being developed here. Okay, got it. So yeah, like I told you, it's JavaScript. So let me do this here. Okay, so let's bring that back. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna downgrade both of these. And then I'm gonna restart. And we're gonna add or 1. Yeah, right now I'm gonna remove the newer version and add the older version. Okay, so I see that React Router 341 is not there. So I see 3. How is that possible? Okay, so okay. I had it in my docs, but probably not correct. Yeah, but it's in the docs of something I worked on, but you know, it's probably not right. Well, obviously it's not right. Yeah, it happens. All right, so now let it compile. And let's refresh here. Okay. Yeah. So this is a React app, and we have home index, right? So this is the home page. So let's go here, and so where is this coming from? So we have this is the React app, and then where is this coming from? So the provider, and then it's not rendering the index route. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a problem. Okay. So refresh. Okay, so this is a React app, and then this is a home page, and then this exports home. Then this exports home. Okay, so so Sanjay Shir on live edu is asking what's up, and the answer is all good. How have you been? Okay, nothing much. So let's see. On the routing. Okay, go ahead. Ask the question. I'll have the. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's messy. Okay, so in order to really understand what this thing is, you can go and read on the React router Redux thing. And yeah, it seems like in 5 they don't have the sync browser with history. Think history restore. Okay, so you go and you look at sync history restore, and you can go ahead and read about what this stuff is doing, right? Provider comes from Redux, right? Um, so Sanjir, yes, I am talking to someone. Can't you hear Stevens on the other side? No, I tested. I tested on recording. You can hear you loud and clear. Um, so here's the thing, right? So provider is coming from Redux, and then router here is coming from React router, and then route is coming from React router, and sync history restore is coming from React router Redux, which is basically the connection between React and React router and Redux, right? So all of these kind of work together in a way, and they compose our app, right? So you have a route path here, and inside of this route path is this thing, right? And then you say, okay, so when I have this with foo, then do foo. If I have this with bar, then do bar. So it's basically a way to have a route to components, right? And then the sync history with store is exactly the way it sounds, right? It's just sync the history with the store. So when you go to slash and then when you go to slash home, right? This is another page, right? And then when you this is a different history, and then when you do when you do back, this is another history, right? So you can have a different history, a different state for different paths in your app. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. So index route, and this is the part that I've been missing here. So if you go to the presenter, you see this is like the app here, right? So let's do first of all like here, div class name equals app, and then here we'll do this. So let's do this is gonna be our header, and then here we'll have I don't have another complete for that. It messes me up. Div, and then here we are going to render the children. Oh, and this is the comma. Fuck this thing. Okay, so and then I need to render the children, and now what's gonna happen is that you're gonna see this is a React app, and then you're gonna see inside it you're gonna see the child, which is the index route, if I've done everything correctly, which I haven't. So let's first of all, this is a simple component. Just a sec. So app doesn't really need a presenter. So let me just grab this, remove this file, and then go to app index here, and then make it a simple comp here. App, and then it's gonna have children, and then here this is going to be right, and then let's close this up, and then here we'll have our h1, so let's paste this here. Okay, so let me grab this. So I'm sorry I'm like going all over the place, but just a sec. I promise it will all connect in a second. So, so I'm gonna render this. And then here. Here I don't really need components, and I don't need React DOM. I don't need all of this. Export default function, and I don't need all of this. And now it's cleaner. And here I'm gonna put the children. Okay. What did I forget? Return here. All right. So now we're gonna refresh, and hopefully all of this refactoring was working. So you don't see my browser, but you see this is a React app. Actually, you can refresh your ngrok. Um, no. If go to the browser and refresh, you'll see this is a React app and this is the homepage. So what's rendering inside here is basically the app component, and inside the app component is the home component, right? Yeah, it's basically saying that's the index, right? So and then you can have here another route saying path equals upload, and here you'll have like your uploader component, right? And it will still be inside of these two, right? So the index route is if nothing else matches, and then the other routes are matches. So think about it. It's like when you go to the when you go to the Rails routes, right? This is like the final stage. So I'm first rendering this, and then inside the index, I'm rendering this inside of the route. Make sense? No. Yes, you're here. So the whole point of this is to have, well, it's two things, right? One is to have one parent component to all of the other components in the routes. So think about it here. You don't need to have the entire app component in every route, right? So you say, hey, if I'm going to slash something, then route everything inside of app. You know what I mean? So here you'll have your header, and you'll have your footer here, and you'll have all of the kind of components that repeat between pages. And what kind of replaced here is what's here in the children, right? At every single route here. So every slash. Yeah, app is gonna get, yeah, unless we do this slash app. You know what I mean? And then you'll do like a route with dash login. So login is gonna render something else than when you're under app, right? Think about it. Like if you have a portal, then you'll have a slash login to the login, and then a slash app to the app, and those are different routes rendering different components. Yeah. Okay. So, um, why is it keep complaining to me here? Yeah. Okay. So you see here, I changed app and saved. So now it's complaining that hey, location slash didn't match any routes. Yeah. So now if I remove app here, then and I refresh, then you'll see the app. So someone on live edu, the same guy or girl, I have no idea, asked the question whether there is a solution for the colon w. And colon w, if you're not familiar with Vim, which is my editor of choice, I'm not religious about it, so don't um, and when you do slash w, it basically saves, which is basically the command S in like GUI editors, um, like Atom, Sublime, and so on and so forth. Um, so I don't know of any solution like autosave or any other shortcut, but what you can have is you can have a key mapping that will do it for you. So you can have a key mapping that, I don't know, like comma S, like the way I split screens here, I do comma V to split the screens vertically. Then what you can do is you can have one that will do save for you. So you don't really have to type colon W every single time. But again, I never did that, never configured that, so I'm not really, I'm not really the one to ask, I guess. Okay, so we did a lot. And yeah, so if you actually look at what we did, I mean, you look at the browser, we didn't do a lot, right? I mean, if you had a boss right now and you say, "Hey, what did you do today?" and you show him this, he will fire you, right? Like, what the hell did you do? So, but if you look at the Git status, then you'll see we did quite a lot. So we added the component of the app. We added the component for home. We added the presenter. We added the reducer, and we added all of the plumbing. So all of these wasn't here. All of the history, React DOM, index route, provider, sync history, restore, all of this stuff we basically did from scratch. So it's quite a bit, and we did it again. One thing to remember here is, out of principle, right now, I'm not doing anything with like a starter project. I'm not doing anything with, like a generator. In real life, I would probably, up until this point, I would just, use one of the generators, that I have, right? Or even I would take one of my apps that I already have and I remove all of the stuff that are like specific to that app and start from there. I mean, as an engineer, need to get stuff done. There is absolutely zero value with everything we did so far. So you shouldn't have typed all this, right? You should have all of this as a starter project, Yeoman generator, whatever you want. There is zero value in this typing. There. Okay. So glass half full kind of thing, I guess. But the reason for doing this really is to see what is included, right? I think a lot of people are missing by creating the project, with a generator, the same way that people are missing out when they use the Rails, the Rails scaffolding. You're missing a lot of what's happening. Like, what's the reducer? How is the reducer connected, right? A lot of people are just using the generator and not really understanding what's required, right? If you had this line in a generator, you might not even look at it, right? Because it just came, right? It's just like there. So you wouldn't really look at it, but because we typed it, then we had to reason about it, and then we had to reason about it and explain it, and then we had a discussion, right? So again, zero value as an engineer, need to get shit done, but a lot of value in terms of education and the streaming. So the last thing, as always, is to commit this. So we have the package JSON and the webpack config and yarn.lock first. So we're going to do this, commit. That's a good question. Oh, well, the code is open source. Oh, it's actually not. Well, no. Yeah, well, it's gonna be in a second. So let me go ahead and create a repository for that. Do I want an organization? No. So I'm gonna call this creative network client. It's gonna be public. No, not a license right now. Okay, so it's gonna create a README. And then we're gonna push. So just a sec. And then we're gonna add all of the SRC. So we're gonna add the origin and we're gonna push it. Okay, so now the code is open source, and I'm gonna paste it in the chat room. And tomorrow we're gonna have a new blog post for what we've done today. Stevens is writing it, and is writing as we speak, and we're gonna post it in the we're gonna post it in the blog and on Twitter, and you can go ahead and follow. So last question before we go. Someone on Twitch is asking, do you? I'm not even gonna try and repeat the username. It's just too complicated. But he or she, I'm sorry, asking, do you just use the default layout on your Ergo docs? Also, what triggers that LED to go off on the top right? Okay, so I am not using the default layout. Which layout am I using? That's a good question, and I need to check. So let me check, and let me grab that. Where is the search in Pocket? I remember there is. Okay. Okay, so let me show the Ergo docs layout I'm using. I think it doesn't look like it. Let me see. Similar enough. Well, so I'm not sure it's this exact one, but it's definitely similar to this. So this is the layout I'm using. I'm using Enter and Shift on the right side, and I'm using this button here as a control, and this as a shift, and this is like a super key. And you see this button here. This button is what makes the LED go red, and this basically means go to the next layer. And when you go to the next layer, the keyboard changes layout completely. And I have these keys, which I use a lot. So, curly braces and parentheses and square brackets, and equal sign, and tilde and backtick, pipe, all of this stuff. All of this is basically junk. I don't use it at all. I mean, in this layer, I don't use this at all. I only use these. I don't know why this is here, but whatever. So this is the layout I'm using. It's been, I don't know, a couple of months since I've been using the Ergo docs. Definitely still way slower than I was before. I'm probably at around 80 words per minute right now. Probably was scratching the 100, from the top before. yeah, I'm really, really liking the Ergo dock. So, long story short, not using the default layout. This red is switching layers, right? So let me just show you exactly what this does, right? So I'm typing E right now, right? And then I'm switching a layer, and now I'm typing curly braces, and then I'm typing E again, right? So these curly braces, E and R. And then the same here. So it's parentheses, and then DNF. And then here, curly braces, and then this, right? Long story short. Hope this helps. Um, by the way, I bought after buying this and having it in my home office. I actually bought one for the office as well. And it's a hefty sum of money. It's a lot of money. But I definitely think it's worth it. I mean, for me, having the split and and the mechanical keys just works out great. So actually here I'm using dampeners. I have these the little round rubber things under the keys, so they're quieter. But I'm anyway using the quiet, the quiet version. I'm using the MX Brown and not the blues. Okay, so this wraps up our stream for today. So two things. One, we're gonna post tomorrow on the blog a summary of what we've done today with links to the stream, and that's one. Second, follow on Twitter. The handle is KensoDev. So follow me on Twitter. I'm posting updates on when I stream, and hopefully it will be more often. Follow on Twitch, follow on Live EDU, follow on YouTube, follow on Twitter, and have a great night. Thank you, Stevens. All right, bye, man. Thank you.